All right, let me now welcome in our special guest this morning. We've got Mr. Sinha joining us of Tata Power to discuss a whole lot in terms of trends, outlook, numbers and more. Mr. Sinha, good morning. Great to have you with us. Now, this was an extremely important quarter. We saw multiple announcements, specifically in terms of key subsidiaries, now getting access to reasonable funding, as well as movement on some key projects as well, like the InVIT. Are the lockdown woes more or less behind us now, Mr. Sinha? How would you address the current situation?
Good morning and thank you for having on the show. First of all, let me try to break this into two parts. The first is the consistent performance that the company has done in this quarter, especially under very trying conditions. This was the most challenging phase for the company. And we have been able to sustain our operations, and thanks to our team members who have been able to perform very well. And all our businesses, all our plants, all our units have done exceedingly well, and they have given a good result for this quarter. So that's the first part of it. The second is about various steps that the company has taken. The first big step was the announcement of InVIT, wherein all our renewable businesses, we will be moving to the InVIT, and that way we will also deconsolidate our balance sheet, which we had been wanting to do for quite some time. So that is one big step, and it also gives us an opportunity to grow manyfold in next few years. So that's the first big step that we took. The second big step that we have taken is about the merger, which the board approved yesterday, that some of our entities which were standalone, we have merged with Tata Power, especially the solar factory where we produce solar panels and also do the EPC. We have a very healthy order book of nearly 9,000 crores, so that gets merged into Tata Power. Similarly, the CGPL, which has been a loss-making unit, and while we have done a lot of corrections in reducing the under-recovery, we wanted to merge so that it gets the support of the parent in access to funds for future operations. So I think these are the two big things that have been announced. Of course, there has been much better clarity now in terms of our growth vehicles that we would be doing. We have plans to grow in our renewable business, which we have already articulated earlier. And also we have plans to grow in some of the new business areas like EV, rooftop solar, home automation, ESCO services. Along with this, the distribution business will also grow, where we went and took over the Odisha distribution during COVID period. And I think that will be an area where we will be growing. There are more opportunities coming in Odisha and other parts of the country, and we'll be participating in that. And of course, our plan for deleveraging by divestment that continues, and even during COVID period, we could conclude and get the money for two of our assets, and we continue to pursue that.
Mr. Sinha, like I said, so much to talk about. You already touched upon several of the questions we had for you. But let me just follow up on some of the things that you mentioned. While you spoke about the under-recoveries in Mundra, we also understand that Maharashtra has agreed for a supplementary PPA while discussions are on with Gujarat. So is there any confusion in terms of the Gujarat government's arbitrary decision in the middle of the lockdown, or are things clear on that front? And also, when you were talking about the renewables, what's the kind of interest that you've had from parties when it comes to the InVIT and the kind of timelines you're looking at there?
As far as Mundra is concerned, Maharashtra government has approved, so that's 20% quantity is tied up. Gujarat government had to modify because there was this was a common order for 3 power plants in Gujarat which were on imported coal, and they wanted to segregate all of them because they had certain issues with other developers. So in that way, they have now made it very clear that each one of us can go separately and get the approval. Apart from the HPC, they have also come with certain directions which have come from GERC in one of the projects. And those are very generic issues. As far as the specific particular issues regarding the operating parameters for our plant, they need to be appropriately modified, and we are in discussions with the Gujarat government. So with 48% in Gujarat and 20%, we will have majority of it who would be on board. And then we, of course, have the other 3 states with whom we will try to discuss. And hopefully they should come on board and go ahead with the amendment to the PPA. As far as the InVIT is concerned, we are in discussions right now. We have got some non-binding offers. We expect that within this financial year, we'll close the InVIT, we'll decide on the InVIT partners, as also we will conclude all the documentation and the approvals that are required to go ahead with the InVIT. So the plan is that within this financial year, we'll be through with all of them. And our target to bring down the debt to 25,000 crore level, we expect to do it by 31st March 2021.
Good morning, Nikunj Dalmia also joining in. Mr. Sinha, I'm going to just jump away from your power business and talk about something which could be the hidden potential of Tata Power, the defense business. Made in India defense is now something government is committed to. That long list of 101 items where import ban has been implemented by the defense ministry was shared by the defense minister. Nobody talks about Tata Power's defense business. How large could that be? And at a time where in general your cash flows are not strong and power business needs capital, will you be able to move forward with your defense business?
On the defense business, about 2 years back, we divested this business. And because there were various entities within Tata Group which were doing parts of a defense business. So it was decided that all this will be consolidated. And a new company was set up by name Tata Advanced Services, and TASL is now the vehicle through which all the defense businesses will be carried out. We have divested. We are going through the process of obtaining all statutory approvals, and hopefully in this quarter we expect to complete this exercise. So defense business will primarily be done by TASL and not by Tata Power any further.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for explaining that. Okay, my next part is that Tata Power is also migrating now to become a power solution company. Have you taken any big steps forward? When I met you a couple of months ago, your view was we are likely to become more like a solution company, not only a distribution and a generation company.
Absolutely right, Nikunj. In fact, I did mention to you that some of our initiatives are moving in that direction. So one is that the distribution business gives us the opportunity to reach to the consumers. We took over the Odisha distribution, and our consumer base is now nearly 5 million consumers. And we are expecting that we will increase it to 1 million consumers in next 2 years. We expect that this will also help us in reaching out to consumers and providing them better solutions through the home automation, energy efficiency solutions, energy conservation solutions. Apart from this, our initiatives on solar, the rooftop solar, the solar pumps, the microgrids are also initiatives wherein we will be reaching out to the consumers and providing them solutions based on their requirements. So it is not necessary that they need to be dependent on the grid or the DISCOM to supply them, but they can generate their own electricity and distribute it amongst their community also. So I think many of our solutions are moving towards the consumer side, and we do hope that these solutions will empower the consumer to decide how much they want to generate, how much they want to use, and how much they want to sell and make money out of that business.
Coming to the power demand, Mr. Sinha, now that lockdown has normalized, is it back to pre-COVID levels? Because the power demand is going to be the first indicator of which way demand and industrial output is moving.
Yeah, absolutely. Power is one of the big indicators of the industrial and commercial activity in a country. And what we had seen once the lockdown was announced on 24th of March, the consumption came down by nearly 25 to 30%. We now find that the consumption is nearing to the pre-COVID level. We are about 3 to 5% lesser. But I think the way things are moving, hopefully next 1 month time, we should be at the pre-COVID level.
Okay. We haven't touched upon the coal mines, Mr. Sinha, the Arutmin ones. We understand you've got a payment that you've received of US dollars 220 million so far, expecting remaining payments as well at about 5 million per month. Is that correct? And are the operations largely on track?
It's largely on track, and we have received it, 220 million, and every month we get about 5 million. Of course, the challenge is that the coal prices have softened and they are finding it a little difficult, but we continue to get our monthly payments from them as was agreed. And we do expect that over a period of time, this will get liquidated.
Okay, great. Anything, I mean, we've touched upon distribution, but anything further you'd like to share with us in terms of any capex there? And you also did, share that deleveraging on certain segments is on track. Overall, debt reduction plans on track?
Absolutely. We were at 43,000 odd crores in 31st March. We've now come to 40,000. So in this quarter itself, we have been able to bring down, and our debt equity ratio is now something like 1.8 against 2.28 last year, same quarter. So we have, over a period of time, progressively been able to reduce our debt equity ratio, and our plans to divest continues to be there. And hopefully in this year, some more divestments will happen, especially the Zambia hydro plant and the smaller coal mine in Indonesia. So I think we are very much on track, and we are working towards ensuring that whatever we have set for ourselves this year, we complete it. And as I mentioned to you, that with the InVIT being formed, the renewable debt will also get deconsolidated. And we should be in the level of around 25,000 crore by the end of this financial year.
How would you characterize your current cash flow situation with discoms? Not all discoms are in a good position. If at all, looking at the state in the GST collection, things will get from bad to worse. Could there be a huge problem in cash flows and discom payments going forward?
Yeah, this is a huge challenge, and this is something that happens on a monthly basis, wherein you need to invoice them and bill them and get the payment. Fortunately, in the last quarter, we have been able to get our collections right. The discoms have paid us, and also we have been able to do some of the things like the factoring and the bill discounting. So those have helped us to improve our cash flow. We also see that the Government of India plan of giving 90,000 crores has also helped, because some of the states have gone and availed this facility, and there we find that the payments which were due to us have been received. So I think all in all, we have been able to pursue and get our payment. One thing which is very important when you are going to discounts for payment is that if your tariff is low and if you are in the merit order, then there is a much higher chance of getting your payment compared to those whose tariff is higher. So in most of our cases, our tariff is very, very competitive, and we are in the merit order number 2 or 3. And that's why we do get our payments on schedule.
Mr. Sinha, where do you think the trend for thermal capacity and solar capacity is headed? Globally, nobody is expanding in thermal capacity, environmental reason, other factors. Do you see the same happening in India?
We do see that there is a huge slowdown in new thermal capacities being added, primarily because of many thermal capacities are still stranded and they are not able to schedule power. Secondly, the existing ones also where the PPAs were there, they are running at very low PLF. So there is, as such, not too much of requirement of thermal capacities to be added. We do see in India in last 3 years, there are very few capacities that are being talked about. And global funding is also drying up for thermal capacities. So I think the trend globally is that thermal capacities will close down in the sense that no new capacity addition will take place. And the same is being seen in India also. And with more and more renewable becoming very competitive in their tariff and in their cost, we'll see that more and more renewable and hybrid solutions will come rather than pure thermal capacities will get added.
All right, Mr. Sinha, thanks so much for joining us. Always great to have you with us on ET Now and share with us in detail some of the developments at Tata Power.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, we're going to take a very quick break. Back with more in just a minute.